Detective Alex Carter of the Paranormal Investigations Unit rushed through the rain-soaked streets, his mind racing with the details of the latest 911 call. The dispatcher's voice crackled over the radio, describing a scene of escalating terror in a luxury penthouse on the city's west side. Alex's team was already en route, their specialized equipment ready for whatever awaited them. As he pulled up to the building, Alex saw the penthouse lights flickering ominously against the stormy sky. Inside, the air was thick with tension as he joined Dr. Maya Patel and technical specialist Ryan Shaw in the foyer. The team's expertise spanned the paranormal spectrum, from forensic analysis to cutting-edge surveillance. The penthouse owner, a renowned businessman named Mr. Davis, greeted them with a mixture of relief and apprehension. "Thank you for coming," he said, his voice tinged with unease. "I don't know what's happening, but it's been getting worse." Alex nodded, his gaze sweeping the opulent surroundings now steeped in shadows. "Can you tell us when this started, Mr. Davis?" he asked, setting up a voice recorder discreetly to capture every detail. "It began a few weeks ago," Mr. Davis replied, his hands trembling slightly. "I started having these nightmares, visions of a shadowy figure lurking in the corners of my mind. Then, things started moving on their own, and I began to hear whispers in the darkness." Maya scribbled notes furiously, her analytical mind already piecing together possible explanations. "Have you noticed any specific patterns or triggers?" she inquired, her tone calm yet probing. Mr. Davis hesitated, his gaze flickering nervously toward the grand staircase leading to the upper floors. "It's always worse at night," he admitted. "The shadows seem to come alive, and I feel like I'm being watched." Ryan busied himself with setting up surveillance cameras and EMF detectors, his focus unwavering despite the palpable tension in the room. "We'll monitor the area for any anomalous activity," he assured Mr. Davis, his voice steady and reassuring. As the team prepared their equipment, Alex engaged Mr. Davis in further conversation, hoping to glean more insights into the paranormal disturbances. "Has anyone else experienced these phenomena, perhaps guests or staff?" he asked, his voice low and reassuring. Mr. Davis shook his head. "No one else has seen what I've seen," he replied quietly. "But I can't shake the feeling that whatever is haunting me is getting stronger." The hours passed slowly as the team monitored the penthouse, their vigilance heightened by the eerie atmosphere. Maya noted fluctuations in the EMF readings, while Ryan captured fleeting shadows on the surveillance footage. Alex paced the room, his mind racing with theories and possibilities. As midnight approached, the penthouse plunged into darkness, the storm intensifying outside. Suddenly, the team's equipment spiked with activity, the EMF meters blaring alarms, the cameras capturing rapid movements in the shadows. "It's here," Maya whispered, her voice barely audible over the howling wind. "Something's manifesting." Alex's heart raced as he focused on a shadowy figure materializing in the corner of the room. The entity's presence was palpable, its form shifting and elusive. "Stay calm, everyone," he ordered, his voice commanding yet tinged with urgency. Ryan adjusted the camera settings, zooming in on the entity. "I'm capturing visual confirmation," he reported, his voice steady despite the adrenaline coursing through his veins. The Shadow Man seemed to sense their presence, its dark gaze flickering toward them before dissipating into the ether. The penthouse fell silent once more, the only sound the distant rumble of thunder. "We need to investigate further," Alex declared, his tone resolute as he turned to Maya and Ryan. "This is just the beginning." As they packed up their equipment, the team exchanged glances filled with determination. The ghostly alchemy of reason had begun, and they were ready to delve deeper into the mysteries that awaited them across the city's haunted landscape. In the aftermath of the haunting at Mr. Davis's penthouse, Detective Alex Carter and his team of paranormal investigators regrouped at their headquarters. The encounter with the Shadow Man left them with more questions than answers, prompting a late-night brainstorming session in the dimly lit conference room. Alex paced the room, his mind racing through the events of the previous night. "There's a pattern here," he mused aloud, his voice a mix of frustration and determination. The Shadow Man appeared when the environmental conditions were ripe: darkness, storm, heightened emotions. Maya flipped through her notes, her brow furrowed in concentration. And the penthouse itself, she added. It's built on an ancient ley line, a conduit for spiritual energy. Perhaps the Shadow Man is drawn to places of power. Ryan, seated at the computer terminal, pulled up the surveillance footage from the penthouse. I've analyzed the footage, he reported, and there's definitely a pattern to its appearances. It seems to manifest near areas of emotional distress or trauma. Alex nodded thoughtfully, absorbing the information. So, we're dealing with a sentient entity that feeds off fear and negative energy, he summarized, his gaze flickering toward the wall-mounted map of the city. Their discussion was interrupted by a call from dispatch, a new 911 report of paranormal activity at an abandoned warehouse on the city's outskirts. Without hesitation, Alex and his team geared up and headed to the scene, their minds buzzing with anticipation and caution. The warehouse loomed before them, a hulking silhouette against the moonlit sky. Inside, they found a foreman named Mr. Jenkins, pale and visibly shaken. It started a week ago, he explained, his voice trembling. Strange noises, cold spots, and now sightings of shadowy figures. Alex exchanged a glance with Maya and Ryan, their unspoken understanding guiding their next steps. They deployed their equipment, a combination of EMF detectors, thermal cameras, and EVP recorders, throughout the warehouse, mapping out areas of paranormal activity. As they ventured deeper into the labyrinthine corridors, Maya detected a significant spike in EMF readings near an old loading dock. There's definitely something here, she confirmed, her voice tinged with excitement and caution. Ryan adjusted the thermal camera, capturing images of fluctuating temperatures and spectral anomalies. I'm picking up cold spots, he reported, his eyes glued to the screen, and strange shapes moving in and out of focus. Alex led the way to the loading dock, where the team witnessed a manifestation of shadowy figures lingering in the periphery. We need to stay focused, he reminded them, his voice steady despite the adrenaline coursing through his veins. Maya conducted a series of EVP sessions, prompting responses from disembodied voices that spoke of unfinished business and lost souls. They're trapped here, she concluded, her empathy evident in her tone. They need our help to move on. Ryan documented their findings meticulously, capturing audio and visual evidence of the paranormal activity. This place is a hot spot, he observed, his technical expertise providing valuable insights into the nature of the spirit's unrest. As they prepared to leave the warehouse, Alex couldn't shake the feeling that they were just scratching the surface of a larger, more sinister phenomenon. We need to connect the dots, he said to Maya and Ryan, their eyes meeting in silent agreement. There's a pattern to these manifestations, and we're going to find it. Back at headquarters, they analyzed the data collected from the warehouse, searching for clues that could lead them closer to understanding the Shadow Man's true nature and purpose. The city's haunted history unfolded before them, each piece of evidence bringing them one step closer to unraveling the mysteries of the ghostly alchemy of reason. In the days following their investigation at the abandoned warehouse, Detective Alex Carter and his team delved deeper into the city's dark history of paranormal occurrences. Their headquarters buzzed with activity as Maya Patel sifted through ancient texts and Ryan Shaw analyzed spectral data collected from multiple locations across the city. Alex sat at his desk, poring over case files and witness statements, searching for patterns that could shed light on the Shadow Man's elusive nature. There's a connection between these sightings, he remarked to Maya and Ryan, his voice tinged with urgency. We need to find it before more lives are affected. Maya nodded in agreement, her eyes scanning the pages of a centuries-old journal detailing alchemical rituals and supernatural encounters. These stories, they're more than just myths, she observed, her voice hushed with reverence. They speak of portals to other realms and entities that defy comprehension. Ryan, ever the skeptic, cross-referenced the historical data with their modern-day surveillance footage. If we can pinpoint where these portals were believed to exist, he suggested, we might find a pattern in the Shadow Man's appearances. Their discussion was interrupted by a frantic 911 call, reporting spectral activity at a prestigious art gallery downtown. Without hesitation, Alex and his team geared up once more, their minds racing with the possibilities of what they might encounter. Inside the gallery, they were met by the curator, Ms. Thompson, her expression a mask of disbelief and fear. It started with strange disturbances during our latest exhibition, she explained, her voice trembling. Now, the paintings themselves seemed to come alive. Alex surveyed the gallery walls, where portraits of long-dead artists seemed to flicker and shift in the dim light. Have there been any specific incidents or sightings? He inquired, his tone calm yet probing. Ms. Thompson nodded, leading them to a secluded corner where a particularly unsettling portrait hung. Visitors have reported feeling watched, she recounted, her voice barely above a whisper. And some have seen shadows moving behind the frames. Maya examined the portrait with a trained eye, detecting faint traces of spiritual energy clinging to the canvas. There's residual energy here, she confirmed, her fingers tracing the contours of the frame. It's as if the artist's spirit is trapped within the painting. Ryan set up his equipment, capturing EVP recordings that echoed through the gallery, a chorus of voices pleading for release and forgiveness. These spirits are desperate, he remarked, his voice tinged with sympathy. They're trapped between worlds, seeking closure. As they continued their investigation, Alex uncovered a hidden chamber beneath the gallery, rumored to house a portal to the spirit realm. The air grew thick with anticipation as they navigated ancient symbols etched into the walls, remnants of rituals performed centuries ago. In the heart of the chamber, they encountered a manifestation of the Shadow Man, its form shifting and elusive. Maya engaged the entity in conversation, attempting to decipher its cryptic messages about alchemical power and spiritual ascension. We need to seal this portal, Alex declared, his voice commanding as he directed Ryan to set up protective wards. It's a gateway for malevolent spirits to enter our world. With Maya's guidance, they performed a ritual to close the portal, channeling their collective energy to banish the Shadow Man and the spirits it had summoned. The gallery fell silent once more, the paintings returning to their static state. As they packed up their equipment, Alex reflected on the events of the night. We're dealing with forces beyond our understanding, he said to Maya and Ryan, their eyes meeting in silent acknowledgement. But we're making progress in unraveling the ghostly alchemy of reason. Back at headquarters, they reviewed their findings from the gallery, piecing together the puzzle of ancient rituals and supernatural encounters that spanned centuries. The Shadow Man's influence had been thwarted, but their journey through the haunted corridors of the city was far from over. In the aftermath of their encounter at the art gallery, Detective Alex Carter and his team intensified their investigation into the Shadow Man's elusive presence across the city. Their headquarters hummed with activity as they analyzed data, cross-referencing historical records with modern-day sightings of paranormal phenomena. Alex sat at the center of the command center, his brow furrowed in concentration as he reviewed surveillance footage and witness statements. There's a pattern to these manifestations, he mused aloud to Maya and Ryan, his voice tinged with urgency. Each encounter seems to revolve around places of historical significance or emotional intensity. Maya nodded thoughtfully, her fingers tracing patterns on a map, overlaying ley lines and reported sightings. It's as if these locations act as focal points for spiritual energy, she observed, her voice resonating with a mix of fascination and concern. And the Shadow Man appears drawn to these nodes of power. Ryan, seated at the computer terminal, pulled up spectral readings from their recent investigations. There's a correlation between fluctuations in EMF and reports of shadowy figures, he reported, his voice crisp and analytical. It's as if the entity feeds off the fear and negative emotions it elicits. Their discussion was interrupted by a distress call from a suburban neighborhood on the city's outskirts. Reports indicated poltergeist activity and sightings of a shadowy figure lurking among the trees. Without hesitation, Alex and his team geared up once more, their minds focused on confronting the Shadow Man's influence. Arriving at the scene, they were greeted by Mrs. Thompson, a homeowner visibly shaken by recent events. "It started with strange noises in the attic," she explained, her voice trembling. "Then objects began to move on their own, and we started seeing shadows." Alex surveyed the Thompsons' home, noting signs of paranormal activity, such as temperature drops and electromagnetic disturbances. "Have there been any specific incidents or triggers?" he inquired, his voice steady despite the escalating tension. Mrs. Thompson led them to the attic, where the air was thick with a palpable sense of unease. Maya conducted a sweep with her EMF meter, detecting spikes in energy near an old wardrobe. "There's definitely something here," she confirmed, her gaze sweeping the dimly lit space. Ryan set up his thermal camera, capturing anomalies in temperature and spectral outlines moving in and out of focus. "We're not alone up here," he remarked, his voice tinged with unease as he monitored the attic's shadows. As they continued their investigation, Maya uncovered a hidden compartment within the wardrobe, containing artifacts linked to alchemical rituals. "These items are infused with residual energy," she observed, her hands trembling slightly as she examined ancient symbols etched into the artifacts. Their attention turned to a nearby grove of ancient oak trees, rumored to conceal a portal to the spirit realm. The air grew thick with anticipation as they ventured into the woods, their flashlights cutting through the darkness. In the heart of the grove, they encountered the Shadow Man once more, its form shifting and elusive amidst the swirling mist. Alex engaged the entity in conversation, attempting to glean insights into its origins and motives. "We need to seal this portal," Maya declared, her voice echoing with determination as she directed Ryan to set up protective wards. "It's a gateway for malevolent spirits to enter our world." With Ryan's technical expertise, they performed a ritual to close the portal, channeling their collective energy to banish the Shadow Man and the spirits it had summoned. The woods fell silent once more, the ancient oaks standing sentinel against the night sky. As they regrouped, Alex reflected on the events of the night. "We're closer to understanding the Shadow Man's true nature," he said to Maya and Ryan, their eyes meeting in silent acknowledgement. "But there are still mysteries left to unravel in the ghostly alchemy of reason." Back at headquarters, they debriefed their findings from the Thompsons' home and the ancient grove, mapping out the next steps in their ongoing investigation. The Shadow Man's influence had been contained, but their journey through the haunted corridors of the city was far from over. In the final chapter of their investigation into the ghostly alchemy of reason, Detective Alex Carter and his team found themselves on the precipice of a chilling revelation. The city, once a tapestry of bustling streets and hidden mysteries, now whispered with the echoes of spiritual unrest and lingering shadows. Alex sat at the heart of their command center, surrounded by maps and case files that chronicled their journey through paranormal encounters. Maya Patel and Ryan Shaw stood beside him, their faces etched with determination as they reviewed the evidence that had led them to this pivotal moment. "We've traced the Shadow Man's manifestations to key ley line intersections," Maya explained, pointing to markers on the map. "These locations act as conduits for spiritual energy, amplifying the entity's influence." Ryan nodded in agreement, his gaze fixed on the screen displaying spectral readings and surveillance footage. "The patterns are clear," he confirmed, his voice tinged with urgency. "Each encounter has occurred near areas of heightened emotional resonance or historical significance." Their discussion was interrupted by a frantic 911 call, reporting a surge in paranormal activity at an abandoned cathedral on the outskirts of town. Witnesses described sightings of shadowy figures and unsettling whispers echoing through the ancient halls. Without hesitation, Alex and his team prepared to confront the Shadow Man one final time. Arriving at the cathedral, they were met by Father Matthews, the caretaker visibly shaken by recent events. "It began with strange occurrences during evening prayers," he explained, his voice quavering. "And now, the The shadows seemed to have taken on a life of their own. Alex surveyed the cathedral's grandeur, its towering spires reaching toward the heavens amidst the gathering storm clouds. "We need to secure the area and gather as much evidence as possible," he instructed Maya and Ryan, their roles well rehearsed from previous encounters. Inside the cathedral, they encountered a maze of ancient corridors and forgotten chambers, each step reverberating with echoes of the past. Maya's EMF meter detected significant spikes in energy near a sealed crypt, its stone walls etched with symbols of alchemical power. Ryan set up his thermal camera, capturing anomalies in temperature and spectral outlines, moving with purpose through the sacred space. "There's a presence here," he remarked, his voice low with awe and trepidation. As they ventured deeper into the labyrinthine corridors, they encountered the Shadow Man once more, its form coalescing from the shadows cast by flickering candlelight. Alex confronted the entity, his voice steady and commanding as he demanded answers about its origins and intentions. The Shadow Man responded in cryptic whispers, alluding to a pact forged centuries ago in pursuit of alchemical mastery and spiritual ascension. Maya translated its messages, her voice tinged with empathy and curiosity as she unraveled the entity's tormented history. "We need to seal this portal," Alex declared, his tone resolute as he directed Maya and Ryan to set up protective wards around the crypt. "It's a gateway for malevolent spirits to enter our world and must be closed." With Maya's guidance, they performed a ritual to banish the Shadow Man and seal the portal, channeling their collective energy to restore balance to the cathedral and protect the city from further spiritual unrest. As the last remnants of the Shadow Man faded into oblivion, the cathedral fell silent, its ancient walls bearing witness to the team's triumph over the ghostly alchemy of reason. Alex, Maya, and Ryan stood together, their gazes reflecting a mix of relief and quiet determination. "We've closed this chapter," Alex said to Maya and Ryan, their voices echoing in the sacred space. "But our work isn't finished. There are still mysteries left to uncover and spirits in need of closure." Back at headquarters, they filed their final report, documenting their findings and reflecting on the journey that had led them to this moment. The city, once haunted by shadows and spectral whispers, now breathed with a newfound sense of peace, a testament to their resolve and unwavering dedication to unraveling the mysteries of the mind and the paranormal realm.